Hey everybody, PC Outcast here, back with another episode of Everlasting Summer. We are on Yulia's route now, so I'm going to try and find the cat girl. First of all, we want to follow the voice in our dream. Hopefully we've done everything right. We do not want to reply to Slapia. I mean, I got all the endings, all the good endings, so Yulia's route should be possible. I want to run away from Alyssa. Don't think this matters. Maybe I should actually not attempt to take the cutlet. We can get some new dialogue, possibly. Oh, or not. Don't take the keys. Don't praise the book. Now we're not supposed to go to the canteen. Go for the cards alone. Don't bet with Alyssa. So basically, don't do anything that'll improve your relationship with anybody. Don't bet with Alyssa and then lose against Alyssa. And then go to the beach. Oh, this is new. I came to the beach. I was not in the best mood and I really had no desire to swim, but I still came to the water's edge and tried to the water with my hand. Pardon me, drinking. The water was warm. Seems like it was still cooling down after such a hot day. Well, perhaps some other time I'll come back to swim. Okay. Massive amounts of new dialogue. Eat with Xenia. Don't help. Don't help, Lena. Go take a look. But don't accept her invitation. Apparently this doesn't have anything to do with anything. We don't... Doesn't matter whether we run away or help. Oh, yes, got that whole, you're here for a reason. Alright, I don't think either of these, or any of these things matter. Alright, end up with Miku. So funny, you go and play with her regardless of what you choose. Just asking. Overdose of stolen candies? Don't ask about the bundle. Don't give her the beta carbon. And finally, we get to eat the apple. Yep, we need to eat the apple. Finally, hunger prevailed and I started chewing on the ripe green apple with gusto. Its taste seemed normal. I don't think that even the strongest poison can be tasted. But it's too late to think about that. It was time to go for dinner. Really, you're starving, so you eat an apple and then you go straight for dinner? Along the way, I ran into Electronique. Wow, that was a lot of new dialogue there, too. And we want to search for Shirik alone. Around the next turn, the flashlight beam illuminated a big shadow. I was trembling with fear and couldn't move even one step further. I was awoken from my stupor only by the thought that it could be Shirik. Shirik! No answer. Whoa! Hot cat girl butt. Around the corner, the shadow disappeared. I saw a blurry human shape. Someone was sitting on a stone, or maybe something. I stopped dead. What are you doing here? I heard a lovely voice. Catching mice? I opened my mouth, but couldn't say anything. Did you see any here? No, but I'm sure there are plenty of them. I shined the flashlight at her face. Wow, she's like super hot. Either something was wrong with her head or with her biological species, because her ears and tail, she doesn't really look like a human. And how many have you caught? Not a single one, she answered seriously. She didn't look hostile. Subconsciously, I felt that I shouldn't be afraid of her, but at the same time, I had absolutely no idea what to ask her, how to ask her, who she is, or what she's doing. But on the other hand, normally if you suddenly met someone in a deserted mine, you'd have a heart attack from shock. And the girl in front of me was definitely not a pioneer from the camp. And you? Who are you? You're probably looking for him. For who? That boy. Well, yes? I answered after a small pause, but still. The girl interrupted me. He's been walking around here for a long time. I tried talking to him, but he didn't hear me. And where is he now? I don't know. Maybe he's still wandering somewhere. It seems she wasn't interested in this conversation at all. And you, how did you get here? Same way you did, from the surface. Without a flashlight? Why not? She gave me a perplexed look. I completely lost all comprehension. The flashlight flickered. Terrified, I started banging it with my fist. When the light lit back up, the girl wasn't there. I don't know who or what she is, but it seemed like she could help me find answers. It's the strangest thing, but I wasn't scared of her. I just felt that this girl wouldn't do me any harm. But now I must find Shirik. I have a feeling that this is not the last time I will meet this girl. Don't know why, but I'm sure about it. Round one last corner, a door appeared from the darkness. I opened it and went inside a small room. Nobody was there except Shirik, who sat in the corner. Shirik! He stared at me with eyes full of terror. Ah, don't come near me! Shirik, it's me, Semyon. I won't give up so easily. He grabbed a piece of reinforced bar from behind his back and started waving it around. Shirik, what's wrong with you? Calm down. First you bring me here, then you take me through this mine. Now you're pretending to be Semyon. He must have gone completely nuts. Sure, calm down. Nobody's pretending to be me. I really am me. Oh, okay. I already have all this dialogue. And then that girl from the mine appeared just before my eyes, and I saw her so clear, it was as if she was really in front of my bed. Whoa. No, I'm just seeing things, but still, why didn't I get scared back then? I just went and spoke to her normally, just like that. All the answers are here. That cat-eared girl knows something for sure. Maybe I was too exhausted because of the old camp mine, the labyrinth, and my nerves were stretched to breaking. Should have asked her about something, but I still have time. You do? It's interesting how seemingly simple events can affect a person. For example, there are such widespread occurrences of OCD, obsessive-compulsive disorder among children, where when you walk on the road, you have to step on on the tiles precisely, avoiding the cracks. Seems like nothing special, but if one doesn't get rid of it in time, just forgetting or forcing oneself to step over the tiles, it could become a really big problem in the future. For instance, one will only stare down and will get hit by a car. I never had anything like OCD, but minor events in my life often led to major troubles. Really, what's wrong with meeting a strange girl with cat's ears in a pioneer camp on the edge of time and space, or possibly even between worlds? Doesn't seem like such a big deal. Although perhaps I just got used to thinking that nothing really existed for me before this week. There was only this camp and this life. That's why something like a cat girl was just par for the course in this wonderland. She's just another character in this play, neither better nor worse than any other. But somewhere deep in my soul I knew that wasn't so. All the camp inhabitants seemed normal, sometimes even too normal, with absolutely nothing remarkable about them. Jeez. You could even say that my life here was simply boring. And now... My head was about to burst with thoughts, so I opened my eyes and jumped out of bed. Camp leader's cabin was the same as usual. Outside the window, a bird monotonously cheeped, trying to burst the capillaries in my eyes with her singing. Ow. The clock showed 11 a.m. Why didn't Olga wake me up? Oh, who cares? I slept enough at least. However, I didn't feel like I had fully recovered. The whole world was seemingly laughing at me, the bright sun outside, the lovely blowing breeze, gently whispering to the crowns of the trees, and this nasty bird had brought some fellows with her, obviously trying to ruin my mental stability. The water from the washstands was ice cold as usual. While washing my face, I realized that I forgot my toothbrush, tooth powder, and towel in the cabin. Strange, I didn't forget my head. Well, that's a good thing it's attached, eh? Couldn't imagine a worse start to the day. At that moment, I thought it was the worst day of all that I'd spent in this camp. Although there weren't a lot of choices, little more than 100 hours, not enough time to get the full image of a new home. Home. This word struck my mind painfully. Do I have to stay here forever? But why? How? What for? I helplessly sat on the grass and buried my face in my hands. Suddenly I remembered that girl, and wondered how many more fantastic characters I'll meet here. Wonderful day, isn't it? I couldn't even be bothered to raise my head. Yeah, couldn't be any better, I answered, keeping the same pose. Why so sarcastic? Sarcastic? I was surprised and looked up, but there was nobody nearby. Is this my imagination? No, I heard that for sure. Maybe I'm losing my mind. That underground mine, Shirik, voices, the cat girl, more voices. Is there anything here I can be sure about? Smack. I punched the washstand painfully hard and immediately jumped up, holding my hand and cursing. Damn it! Oh, hey, girl! Suddenly somebody walked out of the bushes in front of me. Or something. Hi! It was the girl from yesterday. Hi? I didn't know what to say. I didn't know what to expect from her. She's probably a hell beast and came here to end my life. That is, of course, only if it hasn't ended already. The cat girl stared at me. It hurts? She looked at my hand. Yes, I answered timidly. Then why? Why what? Why did you punch it? Because I was angry. I was completely unsure how I should talk to her. Perhaps one wrong word, phrase, or gesture could be fatal for me. Angry at who? But the girl wasn't showing any signs of aggression. It seemed that she was just wondering what was happening. At myself. I see. She smiled faintly. Listen, I don't know how to put it, but I must ask. I kept silent for a moment, gathering myself. Who are you? The girl looked at me blankly. I'm me, of course, she said confidently. No doubt about that, but how should I say it? You just don't meet a human with cat ears and a tail every day, you know? The cat girl carefully examined the aforementioned parts of the body and asked, why? I was totally confused. If in the first few minutes I thought it was necessary to be afraid, to be very careful, now she seems more like a good spirit being than a hostile monster. Because in my world, I was absolutely convinced that I shouldn't hide anything from her. In my world, this only happens in fairy tales. What's a fairy tale? Well, it's a story which cannot happen in reality. So I don't really exist? The girl laughed. I'm not even sure that I exist. But I can touch you, so you exist. Just thinking about the fact that she will touch me, I felt uncomfortable. Well, let's say I exist, yes. I stepped back. Goody, goody. The girl smiled and waved her tail. There was an awkward silence. All the time I'd spent in the camp, I lived as if in a dream. Sometimes when you sleep, you realize that everything that happens in your brain is just a figment of your imagination and you need just to wish. I'd thought so for the last 5 days. This thought constantly existed somewhere deep in my soul. However, it seems that everything is happening in reality. At least, I couldn't just wake up. I just don't understand. What? The girl was still smiling. How I got here? And how to get out of here? Suddenly I heard voices by the roadside, so I turned around. Slavia and Xenia were slowly approaching the washstands. And you... But the girl had disappeared. Did you see it? Like I just needed someone to confirm the existence of this creature. Then I can convince myself that I'm not going crazy. What an irony to go mad while in the land of Oz. Though just arriving here is already a ticket to the loony bin. And even if I wake up right now, I still wouldn't be sure that it was all just a dream. See what? The girls looked at me blankly. Someone beside me? I could hardly speak. So, an illusion, huh? So I'm actually... Did you get your head examined? Seriously? Xenia snorted and passed by. Slavia smiled apologetically and hurried after her. So it's all that simple? I wanted just one thing now, for someone in this nightmare to believe that I'm still sane. This whole camp and its pioneers did not seem as real as yesterday. In the end, less than a week ago, I lived the completely normal life of an ordinary man of his time, and now, maybe everything that happened made me think that all is going the way it should? That it's normal just to exist here? And now the last leftovers of my common sense desperately clung to this cat-like girl with the ears, trying to prove to the locals that I'm not crazy. See? You don't exist, you. It's me in your tail, not you in mine. My head was about to explode. If not for the signal for dinner, perhaps I would have run to the library searching for medical books with lobotomy instructions. The canteen was crowded as usual. Some things never change. For the first time, I looked at all the local pioneers from a slightly different angle. Indeed, why is everything so correct? As if someone created this pioneer camp by carefully compiling material from the internet without bothering to visit such a place himself. It was just like an old Soviet movie. The strict camp leader, the exemplary pioneers, even Yelena, and even Alyssa. All within the normal range. So where does that strange girl come from? She seems like a smear of paint that just happened to be on the picture due to the shaky hands of a sloppy restorer. Shurik suddenly sat beside me. Hey there, he smirked. Hi. What are you thinking about? Just... There was absolutely nothing wrong with speaking openly to anyone. Not anymore. Did you happen to see anyone strange here? Strange? Well, not quite human. I don't really understand. Electronique laughed. A girl with cat's ears and a tail, I said shortly. A girl with ears and a tail? He began to think. How do you know about her? Well, let's assume I saw her. This conversation was starting to get interesting. Let's assume, or you actually did. Is it really so important? Electronique stared at me seriously. There's a legend here about a cat girl. She steals food, small bits and pieces of stuff, and avoids people. Really? A legend? What does this girl look like? I never saw her myself. They say that she has a tail and ears, as you described. What else? Well, this legend is old and I don't know much about it. Who do you think knows more? Ask Olga. She's been in the camp many times, even before she became a camp leader. All right, thanks. I stood up and went to find the camp leader. I bet she decided to take a nap after lunch. Perhaps Olga was the only element that was somewhat out of place in the picture of an ideal camp. She certainly was not a role model camp leader. I opened the door and confidently entered the cabin. And indeed, she was lying on the bed and reading a book, as expected. Semyon? Slacking again? Actually, yes, but anyway. I wanted to ask you something. She stared at me and I hesitated a little. Maybe I shouldn't be so straightforward about everything. It was like my internal firewall had triggered and I just could not tell the camp leader that I had seen the cat girl today. Maybe I got quite used to hinting at something, avoiding straight questions, lying and keeping words back. In just 4 days, although I guess I'd been doing that my whole life. Olga, I was at the dinner, spoke with Electronique, and he told me a legend about a cat girl that supposedly lives here. He also said that you would know more. Why do you need to know about that? Camp leader gave me a piercing look and stood up. Just curious. I like stuff like this. I tried to smile, but it didn't seem to make things any better. We have a completely normal camp. Sure you do. Completely normal. Don't even want to imagine what you'd call unusual. I suppose something with zombies and maniacs. A nightmare on Savionok Street. Yes, I understand, but Electronique said that you visited this place before. Yes. Camp leader was thinking about something. However, there is indeed a legend that somewhere in the surrounding woods a strange cat girl lives, sometimes stealing food and small items from cabins. She's afraid of people, and if someone accidentally sees her, she runs away. That was quite different from what I saw this morning. That girl was more like watching me, studying, trying to understand, but not afraid at all. And you? Have I seen her? Olga interrupted me. No, I haven't, but I was quite close to doing so several times. Bottles, milk, tooth powder, and plenty of other things disappeared from my cabin sometimes. Mysteriously disappeared without a trace. I'd completely forgotten about the fact that all the pioneers here do not actually exist and just listened attentively to the camp leader. I was curious where the stuff disappeared to before, but in the end, there's no evidence of her existence. She smiled as if implying that this conversation is over. And if there was? Why are you so interested in this? Who wouldn't be interested in stuff like this? Though I still had many things to rack my brains for. I don't know. The camp leader thought about something for a second and returned to her usual mother of all camp state. Well, seems like you've decided to become completely laid back, so do something already. She paused and stretched herself in a way that wrinkles that shouldn't even be there at her age came out. Go on, get down to business. I just sighed and went out. All in all, no one from among the pioneers had ever seen a cat-eared girl. They'd only heard legends. Well, I should probably find her. I'd already recovered from this morning's shock events, and existential thoughts have by now stopped pressuring my brain, so it was possible for me to take a reasonable position, more or less. It was necessary because I still had a lot of questions. How did I get here? For what reason? Why? And where is this here? And the cat girl is the catalyst for it all. But I didn't want to start theorizing about parallel worlds, aliens, experiments, and the afterlife again. I was fed up with this after just my first few hours in this camp. Perhaps I just need to put aside the theories and look at the physical reality. Even if I assume that this world exists regardless of my will and I have to live here, my arrival here is inexplicable. More worthwhile to concentrate on studying this world and on analyzing possible events which may happen to me here. I'll do that until the opposite is proven. Until then, let's assume that I'm stuck here. For the long haul, if not forever. The deck chair melodiously squeaked with my every movement. Lilac branches tried to strike me in the face, and the vile morning birds were silent for a long time, apparently tired of the summer heat. The treetops seemed like sharp peaks of the walls of a medieval castle, lost in the boundless woods. These cabins, the square, Genda's monument, the clubhouse building, are just a little village of peasants, huddling near the millennial walls of a grim fortress hidden in a grove. And all of us here, either people like me or cat girls, are just servants of an evil genius hiding somewhere out there. It would be much easier if the camp was on top of a hill, because 1,000 years ago, the best place for a fortification was always somewhere up high. Probably someone just has nothing to be afraid of. But in that case, he would not hide so carefully behind the treetops. I sighed and closed my eyes. My consciousness slowly started to desert me, and soon the whole world faded into darkness. Was he falling asleep? Oh. What's happening? And again, before my eyes, like an endless carpet, the road, surrounded by woods and fields, goes ever on. The bus is going somewhere, leaving behind everything I knew, loved, and hated. An unfamiliar girl is leaning over me and gently whispering something in my ear. I'm actually interested in what she's saying, but I can't hear her. I'm just watching everything from the side and can see everything except her face, and hear everything except her words, and feel everything except my own life. What the hell is that? Did he die in the bus accident or something? I woke up feeling like I was suffocating and began greedily sucking in air. My breath soon went back to normal, and an intolerable thirst came upon me. But what was that dream all about? And who was that girl? These questions again. Maybe I've already died and gone to hell. Can a human being feel that his life is now over and that he can just move on to the next stage of existence? My head was about to explode due to such cosmic thoughts. What did I do to deserve this? I'm just an ordinary guy, not a philosopher, not a theologist, not a scientist. And I don't want to understand the substance of things, the way of the universe. I'm not asking for any more than just to live my life peacefully and then doze off into an eternal sleep when everything is over. How depressing. But no, I'm just trapped here. Tears of frustration welled in my eyes, and why is it always like this? I started to think that if I give it any more thought, I would either understand the substance of all things or go insane for good. Ultimately, it all started with a bus. I got in, went to sleep, and there was a girl. Perhaps one of the local pioneers, maybe even the cat-eared one. Well, why not? I can't rule a single idea out, so I'm here now. My thoughts stopped. Tumbleweed rolled back and forth in my brain, bouncing around the organ which kept my ears from falling off. And that's all. Now I'm here, in hell, heaven, purgatory, or whatever, wherever. Looks like I'm going to spend the rest of eternity in this place. For some reason I fixated on this exact theory. It's strange that I didn't care about the fact that a spiritual being doesn't have basic human senses, sight, hearing, touch. All in all, at first glance, there is nothing different about me from my condition a week ago. Well, except for being a couple of years younger. And what's so bad about what happened? Might even consider this a second chance. After all, it's not that hard to get a job. I could rent a room in a hostel. I'm 17 now. I'm still healthy. My brain is in an excellent state. My energy is at its peak. I might try to achieve something. But what had prevented me from doing so before? Was I really that old back then? I jammed like an old rifle, and without outside help, I wouldn't have escaped the cycle of self-reflection. Fortunately, Lena soon appeared by the camp leader's cabin. Hi. I raised my eyes reluctantly and stared through her for a few seconds. Hello. She stopped, looked away, and blushed. Well, never mind. May I have a seat? Sure. Lena perched herself on the edge of a deck chair. What are you thinking about? I'm trying to understand the laws of this world. And how's it going? She asked seriously. Not too good. Perhaps they're beyond human comprehension. Then maybe you shouldn't bother. But what should I do? I just have to. Why? Really, why? Does it happen to be of some vital urgency? I didn't really bother thinking about things like that in the past and lived in relative peace. And what has changed so drastically now? I won't think about it now either, and I'll be living in somewhat different conditions, but what's wrong with that? If there's no choice. I don't know. It seems that nothing's up to me. I looked at Lena wanting to say something, but It looked like Lena wanted to say something, but she didn't. And you probably came to see Olga? Yes. I mean, no. But to be honest, what is it? Sometimes I feel that way too. What do you mean? But nothing's up to me. I looked at her attentively. She was sitting with downcast eyes, nervously toying with a handful of field flowers. They were yellow like the fervent rays of the summer sun. Well, you know, these flowers, for instance, they were growing just for the sake of it, and then I ripped them out of the ground, and that's all. She was literally about to start crying. It didn't really fit my picture of Lena. Well, yeah. To be honest, I really don't know what to say. Well, so are we. We were ripped out, and then she got up abruptly and rushed in the direction of the square without saying goodbye. Indeed, Lena, like all the other pioneers, seemed to be real. Not a figment of my imagination, not a doll, not an NPC. A few hours ago, I was sure that I'm the only one who exists here. And possibly that cat-eared girl. Wish I could find her. I'm in a state of something like spiritual deprivation. All my senses are working properly, but I still have a painful need to know why I'm here. As if the need for identity, to find my place in this world, to determine its nature, laws, and mechanisms had become vital, just like the need for food and rest. It's probably the worst punishment for a human, to have the desire to understand something, but not the ability. To wish to change something, but to not have the opportunity. To strive for something, but to be unable to achieve it. I never seriously thought before, why am I in the world? How much time will I spend here? What do I have to do, and what will come next? Now, after encountering this other world, I have nothing left but to think about these. I guess that if it's possible to escape from here, I'll return to my quiet life where I don't have such troubles. But I won't return. It's so hard to face a task which cannot be completed. If I could choose my fate, I would never agree to this bus, this camp, these girls. I'd stay there in my apartment in front of the monitor. I can't demand anything more from a person than he can do. Better to spend the rest of your life working in the mine than trying to understand something that just won't fit into your head. After all, there's no other way. Of course, it's possible to make a valiant effort, to try not to think, try to escape this reality and to start a new life. But it's not part of human nature to neglect everything that happens around you. If I was accused of a crime which I had not committed, of course I would try to resist, to prove my innocence. No one would agree to live in jail instead of at home, whatever their home is like. And now it's me who is thrown from the world I was used to into this jail. Though it is boundless, though there are no walls or bars on the windows, it's still a jail. I did not ask for this. My only desire for now is to return back home. And the only key out of here is hung just a bit higher than I can reach with a jump. And there's nothing helpful around, no chair, no stool, not even a small stone that could be put under my feet. And no one to help me. A few centimeters, just a few centimeters separating me from freedom, from realizing everything. Maybe it's impossible to return back home, but at least I'll be able to escape from this jail. That is exactly what I've wanted for the last 5 days. Wow, this is getting seriously deep. So we will continue this in the next episode. Thanks very much for joining me. See you then.